The architecture of artificial intelligence has moved beyond the isolated text prompt. We are now transitioning from interacting with localized chat windows to managing an omnipresent network of cross-platform agents. The leading AI labs are currently accelerating this shift by aggressively dismantling the usage constraints on their most capable models. Over the past week, both OpenAI and Anthropic have actively stripped away the interaction limits for frontier models like GPT 5.6 and Fable 5. This rapid escalation is being referred to as a token war. To pull users into their respective ecosystems, these companies are intentionally absorbing the massive operational expenses of running advanced language models at scale. This chart compares flat subscription revenue against actual compute cost. Processing these unmetered interactions far exceeds standard monthly fees. We are operating inside a deliberate market anomaly. Labs are taking a heavy loss, creating a subsidized window of artificially cheap compute. The immediate objective here is not profitability. The objective is inescapable user lock-in. To achieve this, the major players are deploying a three-part architecture: deep cross-application data integration, continuous cloud-based execution, and ambient physical hardware. By examining these three vectors, we can map exactly how this ecosystem capture works and how to leverage it before the economic realities of compute force this subsidized window to close. The first vector of lock-in transforms the AI from an external sandbox into an unavoidable layer of your core data infrastructure. Consider Google's Notebook LM. Originally launched as Project Tailwind, an isolated research experiment for querying individual documents, Google recently rebranded it to Gemini Notebook. This structural reintegration allows the AI to ingest live data directly from Docs and Drive without manual transfers. With the rollout of Ultra subscriptions, the Notebook gains access to an independent background cloud computer. This means the model can now execute code and process sources autonomously, without relying on the local device's processing power. This expanded capability allows the agent to generate discrete operational files directly within the chat interface, exporting PDFs, Excel spreadsheets, and PNG images on command. The critical UX update is auto-syncing. As a user edits a Google Doc in Drive, the content dynamically updates within the model's context window. This perpetually tethers the AI to the live workflow. The model always has the most current iteration of your data, eliminating the friction of manual uploads and cementing the notebook as the primary processing layer. Google is also pulling Gemini Notebook directly into its search interface via AI mode, embedding the agentic research tool into the main search bar. Injecting the agent into the fundamental entry point of the internet ensures maximum adoption. The interface users already rely on automatically becomes the interface for their AI workflows. Through horizontal data integration, the AI ceases to be a tool you choose to consult. It becomes an underlying infrastructure layer you cannot simply unplug. Once the data ecosystem is integrated, the architecture shifts from where the information is stored to how the AI interacts with it. This diagram illustrates the mechanical difference. On the left is the traditional linear path: prompt, output, sequence ends. On the right is Google's new continuous architecture, Gemini Spark. Operating natively in the cloud, its loop expands, continuously connecting to Sheets, Docs, and Gmail autonomously. This forces the human out of the role of active prompter. When the AI evaluates conditions independently, the human transitions to a passive manager reviewing automated outcomes. Operating cross-platform, Spark can independently open Google Docs, parse ongoing commentary in Sheets and Slides, and format the necessary adjustments across the workspace. To feed this continuous execution engine, Google has rolled out Personal Intelligence, an aggressive cross-platform ingestion protocol. Personal Intelligence pools disparate data from Gmail, Keep, Drive, and Photos. It routes all of this directly into Search's AI mode, allowing the agent to autonomously manage logistical tasks, like scheduling calendar invites based on existing plans. A parallel strategy is occurring for developers. Inside Google AI Studio, users can now publish applications using custom branded URL endpoints rather than generic links. By allowing developers to claim clean domains directly, Google incentivizes them to build, test, and host their applications entirely within the Google infrastructure. Continuous cloud execution guarantees the AI is always operating. When a background loop manages your code, your operational dependence on a single ecosystem becomes permanent. But continuous background execution introduces a practical problem. How does a human effectively monitor an AI agent that is running invisibly in the cloud? This problem clarifies OpenAI's recent venture into physical workspace hardware with the release of the Codex Micro, a macro pad built in partnership with Worklouder. Standard macro pads provide shortcuts. The Codex Micro provides state monitoring for agentic workflows that occur outside the active window. Users map physical keys to trigger AI actions. The core feature is state monitoring. A key glows blue when an agent initiates a task, shifts to yellow during active processing, and flashes red if a bottleneck requires human intervention. These ambient physical signals are necessary because standard text chat interfaces fail at continuous state monitoring. A chat window cannot easily notify you of a background error if it is buried under 4 other applications. We see this exact logic driving products like the iFlyTech AI Note 2, an e-ink tablet embedding GPT-5 into single-purpose hardware to capture meetings and translate transcripts natively. By anchoring state monitoring to your desk, the provider ensures their ecosystem is the only one you look at. These sprawling integrations across cloud storage, continuous agents, and desk hardware require massive computational power to run effectively. To accelerate the adoption of these resource-heavy workflows, OpenAI intentionally removed the 5-hour limit warning from their desk architecture. Throughout the week, they continually reset the weekly usage limits in the background, essentially granting users unmetered access to GPT 5.6. Anthropic mirrored these unmetered resets for their Fable 5 model. Both platforms allow users to burn through millions of tokens without hitting a paywall. The intent behind this token war is to intentionally flood the market with unsustainably cheap compute. This is an aggressive recruitment drive. By removing the financial friction, the labs encourage users to experiment with complex agentic behaviors that they would otherwise avoid due to cost. The endgame is to secure total ecosystem dominance. They need developers fully integrated into their software pipelines before financial reality forces token prices back to normal levels. The token war serves as the economic catalyst, artificially subsidizing the transition from casual chat usage into permanent operational lock-in. The artificial intelligence industry has permanently moved past conversational text generation. Widespread integration of AI is no longer a fringe workflow or experiment. It is rapidly becoming an inevitable baseline standard across professional industries. Industry veterans like George Lucas have stated publicly that this level of integration is inevitable in fields like filmmaking. For knowledge workers, the reality is exactly the same. You either adapt your workflows to these new standards or you forfeit your competitive advantage. Omnipresent data ecosystems, autonomous continuous execution, and ambient physical hardware. These are the 3 pillars securing the next iteration of digital work. Right now, we are sitting inside a temporary window. Unmetered, highly capable compute is artificially cheap as the massive tech companies battle for user retention. The objective is not to wait out the war and see who wins. The objective is to aggressively leverage this subsidized compute to architect your own automations today, before the market corrects and the window slams shut.